appear on camera. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Hollywood Matt Connelly Live. This is Hollywood Matt Connelly with the double biceps. It's in the contract and legal requirement every single time we appear on camera. We are appearing on camera right now with a different Dan. We found a different Dan to jump on. Dan Centrella is on his way. He'll be in about 25 minutes or something like that. But we've managed to find the other Dan in New York, the other arm wrestling superstar, which is Dan the Nightmare Schwarz. Hello to you, sir.
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me. It's you throw an arm wrestling out, and then all of a sudden, any Dan shows up, right?
Absolutely. Well, I'm very happy to have you on the show. I mean, you have your own successful podcast that you've been running for quite a while and doing a really good job promoting the sport of arm wrestling in the tri-state area over there in New York and Connecticut and New Jersey and all those Pennsylvania and those local states to where you are. So yeah, it's been great to see the progression of the sport. So you've been in for what, six years now?
Just a little over 5 years, actually.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. And what about where the sport was when you started to where it is at this point?
Oh my God. It was, you had Arm Bet that just had come out when I had just started, because it was just right after the lockdown, a COVID lockdown, that I had started. And when I rewind a little bit, but I went to Facebook groups and looking up arm wrestling Long Island, and I found a whole bunch of nothing at first. And then all of a sudden I found one guy, and he shows up to my house the next day. Talk about a strange situation, but he showed up to my house the next day with an arm wrestling table that had this alligator skin top on it that looked like it was literally like today's day and age. It was made out of someone's garage. And I was like, this is not a sketchy situation at all. Some random dude shows up and says, I'm going to teach you how to arm wrestle. And then ArmBet came into play, helped us grow, and it has grown exponentially since then.
Yes, absolutely. So you've got a couple of practices that you go to each week. The one that you have in the Sports Rec Center with the baseball and that sort of thing going on, is that your number one training place?
So that is the most regularly scheduled training location. We have had an event over there over the summer as well. It is called Clean Cut Fitness, located inside Pro Game Athletics in Bayshore, New York. And so that is one of the most common training places. Actually, the other one is here, the Pit. It's in my own garage. Right now it looks like it's ramshackled because we've been doing a lot more practices outside of it as it's gotten colder. But I am planning on making this a little bit more of a homey spot for everybody.
Fantastic. Well, let me just say hello to everyone in the chat here. We've got the ever faithful, the Drew24 is in with the sunglasses emoji. Does he jump in on yours every time as well?
All the time. That man is everywhere. I think he's got a clone of himself in every YouTube channel.
That's why we get number 24. He is the 24th clone. Seems to like my show. the other 23 are like, yeah, you can have it. We've got last night's guest who was on the show, Scott Evans from Utah. It was great to have him on the show. The man with the best smile in all of arm wrestling. If you haven't seen his smile, have a look. It is worth the look. It is a great smile.
I will definitely gotta check that out now.
Robert Kelly, who we were just talking to a second ago, he says, "What's up, chat? Gonna be mega." He says he's been on the road since 10 a.m. yesterday. It's been a day, y'all. Yeah, absolutely.
That dude is a weary traveler. I don't think there is another person that travels puts more miles on his life than Robert Kelly for the sport of arm wrestling, other than maybe yourself and maybe one other. But like locally, this guy goes everywhere. He drives more than he flies, and that's why I say he's got so many miles in between. He goes from he's from Oklahoma. Yeah, Oklahoma going up to Montana, comes up here to New York, and everywhere in between.
Fantastic. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, this is the thing that people do for this sport of arm wrestling. You know, when you really love something and you're willing to sacrifice and, you know, go places, meet different people, put on events, turn up at somebody's house with a table.
Yeah, no, it's incredible.
Absolutely. Scott Evans says Paul Cruz is Long Island. He is one of the, well, I think he's the number one guy in the state of New York, isn't he, at this point in time?
He's a king of New York. He's definitely the king of New York. He's a super heavyweight guy, heavyweight guy. But so far, I don't think anyone here has, in fact, beaten him. So he's a top dog to beat, in an open weight class. Definitely an amazing dude, funny as all hell. You had the experience of getting connected with him yourself. Just a real genuine ball buster, but he always means well.
Yeah, absolutely. Great guy. And what a thick hand, man.
When
he shook my hand, it was like, oh, like I was just getting crushed. Like, oh, geez, I wasn't expecting that.
When you see him, he doesn't look like he's going to have that big of a hand. Like, and then all of a sudden his hand, it's just like unproportionately big to the size of the human that's in front of you. And he's gonna make some serious waves this upcoming event. I know he's got a match coming up the end of the month.
Fantastic.
So I'm looking forward to seeing him.
Well, that's the thing is that I mean he's on that upward trajectory at this point in time, and just seems to continue to get better and better. So I think he's going to have a massive 2026, and then closing out of 2025 as well. So and we've got plus 2026. We'll have the show coming out, the house that we were on with Greg Sharp's World Series of Arm Wrestling production. We were in a house in San Diego for a few weeks, and there was 10 of us arm wrestlers, and we did all sorts of crazy things, which we can't talk about yet. But as soon as that comes out, they're targeting that for February. But Paul Cruz was one of those gentlemen I got to spend a few weeks with, and yes, he is a very funny, genuine, and fantastic arm wrestler.
Absolutely.
Scott Evans says, my favorite part of our sport is the people. And I completely agree. I think that makes the sport, the welcoming community of arm wrestling is just second to none. I've experienced it firsthand throughout my time in the United States. Thanks in part to yourself, Dan, for allowing me to get in contact with Dan Centrella and be able to go and stay at his place when I was sort of between places. And yeah, it was not only that, but he took me around the city of New York and Fire Island and all these really cool places. We went to restaurants and all these things that I've never have done like by myself. Like I wouldn't have planned that I was going to be doing these things, and like I hadn't even heard of Fire Island. And then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, we're going to take this boat over here, and these deer are running past us, and it was like.
and you ate oysters for the first time as well. Clams.
Yeah, clam. Oh, that's what it was. Yeah. It was. That was the first time I tried it. It was weird.
But you didn't die. You didn't die, right?
Not yet. I beat my record. My record today of consecutive days lived in a row. So I'm happy with that. Tomorrow I'll try to beat it again. Robert Kelly says, Cruz is the only number one. Is only number one because he hasn't pulled me. Whoa. And then don't tell him I said that, he says.
Yeah, I would say there's a couple people that are undefeated against Cruz only because they haven't had the opportunity to pull with him. Right. So once they pull them, that record, that winning streak is going to be short-lived.
Absolutely. And Scott Evans says that Paul Cruz is about to go against Pork Chop. Is it Curtis Cameron? Is that his surname?
Yes,
yes.
Curtis Cameron over at the MAC Global Elite pay-per-view event that's happening November 29th, Black Friday weekend up in Toronto, Greater Toronto area. It's a beautiful venue. I don't know if you saw Ian Carnegie's post on it. Yeah. It is gorgeous. The venue, it looks spectacular. I'm so excited. There's a lot of heavy hitters on that card, but I'm I actually have a match that day, but on a different side of the nation. But that is a match I'm very excited to see.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no. Ian sent me a few videos of the stadium, and yeah, it looks incredible. It's state of the art facility and just a massive stage, and yeah, it looks fantastic. So I hope that people will support the event, go along and check it out. Buy a ticket, buy a shirt. Go and see some amazing arm wrestling, and you'll be impressed with not only the facility but the caliber of the athletes that he's got on this card as well.
Without a doubt, it's one of the best cards, and I think the pay-per-view is only 9.99, and that's
Wow.
Canadian dollars, so it's a little bit cheaper, in the U.S. For those in the U.S. that are looking to watch it, so it's like I think like $6 or something like that, maybe give or take in
Yeah.
U.S. dollars. So I mean, one match alone is well worth your money for that. I recommend definitely buying the pay-per-view just for the sheer fact of supporting arm wrestling.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. It should be a fantastic event. Scott Evans says TV stars. Scott Evans, also one of the cast members on the show, The House, for the World Series of Arm Wrestling, Greg Sharp's production. And yes, we had. It's just so difficult to talk about the show because I'm so worried about like saying something I shouldn't. And I know there's like a massive penalty if I do. So I'm like, yeah, the show with the thing, and
It was a fun time. For
yeah,
for now, let's just say it was a fun time. You're all gonna have to wait till February to see what's going on. Listen, I'm eager to hear more about it. I've been poking and prodding people, saying, "Hey, what can you tell me?" Obviously, nothing. Not yet.
yeah,
Until it should. You know what though? Here's the thing: delayed gratification is lost in this day and age because you show up on the internet, you say, "Look up X, Y, and Z," and it boom gets it to you, right? So it's worthwhile the wait. Some things are worthwhile. We have a lot of other things that happen live. We got Monster Factory. It's going to happen live for free. We got a pay-per-view that's nearly free, that you can watch real time. So we can wait for something, right? We can wait for something good.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing is, when you film that much over that many weeks, it's going to take a little while to get everything edited and the storylines told and all the rest of it, and get all the right the right angles, the right direction that you want to go with the show. It does take time to build that, especially if you're going to be presenting it on a television network. It must follow a certain formula. It has to go to a certain amount of time, and start, middle, and end, and you've got to sort of cover a lot of bases to be able to put that sort of content to air. So it's not just something you can throw together in a few days and throw it up on TV. It's got to be done professionally and done correctly. Which is why it takes time. I mean, you look at any Hollywood movie that gets shot, and they film it, and then it's normally at least a year before they're actually releasing it. In so much time in post production, and depending on if there's special effects and all the rest of it that need to be added. Not that we'll have that with this show, but that is actually one of the reasons that reality TV became so popular, was because it was a cheaper way for production studios to put out a lot of content, and especially they could put unknown people on there, for if they're getting paid at all, that it's very small compared to having to hire actors. They don't have to have script writers. They don't have to have, all the production side of it that comes along with a scripted acted television show. They can be like, hey, we've got 20 crazy people. We're going to put them at Jersey Shore, give them alcohol, and just film what happens, It's like,
Yeah.
there's a 12-week show all of a sudden, and it cost them $30,000 as opposed to trying to write an entire 12 episode series or something with compelling dialogue, characters, audience interest. It's like they really went for that bottom of the barrel car crash attraction sort of style.
And you know what? That's what people can relate to, because those are real people, right? Those are real people, real situations, people that, you know, the average Joe can actually sit there and say, hey, like, for instance, one thing I know about Paul Cruz, he works on a railroad, right? So how many people in this nation work on the railroad and say, I have a hobby that I want to be proud of, or I want to put myself out there and try to do something. Guess what? Paul Cruz has now lit that pathway for people who never thought, hey, I can amount to something beyond my regular, soul crushing job. my soul doesn't need to be crushed anymore. I can actually go out and explore the world viewing something like this. And it definitely creates another dynamic for the world of arm wrestling, but in general, the world. I can appreciate it.
Oh, for sure. No, I hope it does really well, and that a lot more people will be at least aware of the sport of arm wrestling. You know, even if they don't want to go and compete themselves, but maybe they'll start watching it, or maybe they'll have an idea and talk to other people about it. You know, and it's not that, oh, is that a real sport thing? You know, it's less and less of that I'm getting when I have conversations about arm wrestling, because usually when I went in, because I'm 6 years in, the first couple of years it was always like you say, oh yeah, I do arm wrestling, and they go, is that a real thing? And you're like, yes. And they're like, oh, I thought it was just a pub thing. And it's like, no, it's a proper sport with rules and competitions and all the rest of it. But now, like I, say to people, hey, I do arm wrestling, and they'll go, oh, I've seen that on YouTube. There's some tall Canadian guy, like used to be, I think he was in the army, and it's like,
yep, almost verbatim, almost verbatim. I just had that today. I literally just had that today.
Oh, there you go.
I was like, where's the camera crew? Are you following me around that? Because I literally just had that conversation with someone today.
Wow, that's amazing. What was that? Was it one of your clients or something? Like,
yeah, it was one of my clients. He's like, he has this really special force, like really tall Canadian guy. He holds his arms kind of funny, and he was in the special forces. He seems like a really nice guy, but like he destroys everybody at the table. And I'm like, yep, that's Devin Lorette. And he goes, yeah, that's the name. That's the name. And I was like, yeah, he's actually a really nice guy.
yeah.
He's like, what, you know him? I was like, yeah, I've hung out with him a few times. I went down to Puerto Rico with him, been up to Canada, I hung out with him up there. And I got to know the guy. And he goes, that's so cool. Tell me more about Armor. Is it like over the top? And I was like, it's a little bit more professional, organized than Over the Top was. But, that does give you a general gist of what we do. Now we've actually added a little bit more professionalism, and we're highlighting it more, because it is more of not just a bunch of truck drivers, having a testosterone battle. It's actually about a bunch of athletes that are looking to prove themselves and say, hey, look, I can do this too.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest hooks that people find when they start the sport. Like, they may have come into it from a perspective of thinking it's just about strength, or just about brutal power, or that sort of thing, and then they very quickly learn. Usually they'll get on with somebody. We've got a couple of guys that are in the lighter weight classes that will spot out the new people and be like, come on the table with me, and then they'll just stonewall. It's like, they're like, okay, you go ahead, and the person's like, doing whatever and not moving an inch, and they're like, okay, so you're 3 times bigger than me. The reason you're not getting through is because of technique, and let me start explaining how technique works. So, and very quickly you're like, oh wow, okay, there's so much more to this than I realized, and it's just a never-ending rabbit hole of information.
Oh, without doubt. And there's all different styles of information out there to that point. I mean, like you said, they'll stonewall the big guy, but then they spend the time to teach them how that big guy can stonewall him in the future, right?
Yes.
And that's one of the coolest things. I think I love the camaraderie. And Scott said the people is the best part of the sport. I've talked to Devin regularly. I have a super match coming up, and I reached out to him and said, here, this is my opponent. What do I need to work on? Because he's familiar with my style. He's familiar with what my strengths are. And, he'll coach me, even though he's a busy man with super matches himself. But he takes the time out of his day to send a voice message. Him and Paul Lynn, other stars of the sport. I can't call up Michael Jordan and say, hey, how do I improve my game on the court? I just can't.
Absolutely. Yeah, I remember it was probably maybe 2 years in. I sent Devin a video on Facebook, and then he shared it, and I was like, oh, that's amazing. And he wrote something about it. I was like, that I couldn't believe that he'd even looked at the video, but not only done that, but reposted it as well. It was just like, as you said, how what other sport can you reach out to the top people, like the elite guys, and they'll write back to you? In any sport, like, who are you contacting in anything? Like golf, no, good luck. Like basketball, nope. Like soccer, yeah, good, yeah, okay. So yeah, it's just such a tremendous aspect to it, and I think one of the biggest examples of that camaraderie, or that willingness to teach was when I saw Devin versus Michael Todd for the second time, the one that Devin ended up winning fairly comfortably. And as soon as the match was over, when they were talking, Devin is explaining exactly what he did to prevent Michael from being able to get into his position, and he's like, I just beat you with riser. This is what I need. You need to do this when I'm doing that. Like, and he's showing his opponent minutes after the match what he needs to do to get better and how he can defeat what he did to him in the future. And it's just like, what other sport are you ever going to see that? Like, you know, it's like two boxers, and it's like after the match, they're like, all right, let's get in the ring. Now, when you were doing this, it just never happens.
The only way I get better, right, for me, is if the people around me continuously get better too. That's the only way that I'm going to improve and keep improving and leveling my game up. Because if I stay at the top for any length of time without any contest, without, you know, any challenges, then it gets boring. Then why am I going to do it, right? So to keep it interesting for me, I'm going to want to flood my surroundings with whatever knowledge I possibly can. You know, I'm happy to say, hey, this is how I learned to arm wrestle the way I arm wrestle. You know, when I see you do this, I see that you lack that. You know, but if you just added this, you'll gain that, and it makes it more challenging for me. So, okay, whoa, what do I got to do differently now to get back against this guy who's actually physically bigger and stronger than me? Didn't have any technique. Now he has the one technique to slow me down. What can I do to improve myself? And just we constantly level each other up.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I had a couple of people throughout the club in the last few years feel like they've said that they felt like they're not improving, and it's like you have gone up so much in the last 6 months. Like, you compared to where you were 6 months ago would destroy yourself. I said the reason you feel like you're not progressing is everyone else is also progressing, so you're all moving up, but it feels like you're going against these people and, you know, maybe just winning, maybe just losing, but because you're all going up at the same time, it's like it feels like you haven't progressed. But then when somebody that maybe has stepped away for a couple of years, or somebody that used to fight quite challenging that's in another state or whatever, and you get and you're like, oh wow, okay, there's the results that I've been missing.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. You know, and that's why I always encourage any of my teammates to go and travel out to practices, you know, that are outside the norm. Hey, listen, if you're on vacation, if you're taking a work trip, tell me where you're going. I'll help you find a practice. I have a pretty solid connection with a lot of people all over the place. I mean, when I went to Italy, I found an arm wrestling practice. And I connected with a pretty solid group of, you know, Italians, and did not speak a word of English. Like, some of them, like, their English, I think they all collectively, they knew 15 words of English. But top roll, hook, you know, side pressure, you know, back pressure. Those were common words amongst those 15 words that they knew. But we were able to have a universal language of arm wrestling, which is really cool, right?
Yeah, absolutely. What was it like for them? Were they very excited to have an American come to their training?
Oh my God. You would have thought that I was royalty. I kid you not. I was like, I'm just little nobody out of Long Island. What do you mean? Like, why are you treating me like this? What did I do to deserve this type of like? Everybody was just so kind. They were so eager to take a picture with me. I was like, I am nobody special, guys. You know, so it was really cool to experience that, you know, and like, even if I go to another place, you know, across even in the States, like a place that I don't normally go to, I connect with people. I was on family vacation in Colorado. I got to hang out with Surrey Brown. Him and his crew were just so cool and welcoming. He has practice out of his own house, and I felt like I was a part of the family. You know, I didn't know any of these people through a hole in the wall. Similar to how you felt, I felt like I was a part of the family, and like that's what the arm wrestling community does, I think, for each and every one of us.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. I mean, I've experienced that throughout the places I've been throughout the world. You know, in India, you know, we had our match, and then they're taking us to their house after for dinner. It's like you're cooking food, bring it out, but it's just like, wow. And then driving us places and making sure we're able to get what we needed to get, and just looking after you big time. And it's like, I'm not, yeah, as you said, like, it feels like, hey, I'm not anyone special here, but because I guess it's that novelty factor. Like somebody has acknowledged that we exist and they want to come and train with us, or they want to come and meet us, or I think that has some benefit there. And then the people that are part of that group, they want to put their best foot forward. They want to show like how they want you to have a good time. They want you to be like, oh, I went to Italy and the guys there were amazing, or I went to India and everyone was awesome. And so if somebody was coming to our club, I'd feel the same want that to make sure they enjoyed themselves, that they got on with enough people, that they went out to dinner with us or whatever afterwards. And you just want to make sure that people get a good feel of the positivity of arm wrestling.
Well, that because not only do I want you to come back, but I want you to come back as friends. Right? Because that just means more arms for me to get better off of, right? Like Devin's thing, or the cosmic punch, where he's collecting all the energy from all the people that he arm wrestles with. I feel the same way. Like I feel like every time I arm wrestle or train with somebody, a little bit of them is in my style.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. It's like Highlander.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absorbing everyone's skills. But Scott Evans here, he says he went to a practice at Sire Brown, I believe that's how you say it, Sire Brown home in Colorado while in the area for work. So there you go. I mean, you can go anywhere, especially in
Surrey.
Sorry. Yeah. So
that's okay.
I knew it was going to get me. I was like, "There's no way I could say this word correctly."
Don't worry, I said it wrong about a dozen times, even to his face for a little bit until it clicked. So you're not alone.
Oh, that's good. Well, I had one of the guys in our club, and I swear his name was Robert, and I'd been calling him Robert for about 6 months, and then we had a tournament. And he gives me his entry form, and I said, "Why did you write Alex?" And he goes, "That's my name." And I was like, "Right."
It sure is.
Yes, it is.
The day you were born.
Yeah. It is what it is. Dominic says, "Hey, Scott Evans, was great listening to your arm wrestling experiences. If you haven't seen that, it was yesterday's episode. We were on with Scott Evans from Utah, one of the top-ranked guys in that state, in a state filled with absolute legends and killers. Utah, I don't know what they do over there in the water, but some of the best guys in the world seem to come from that region, and Scott Evans is one of those men. So it is a great chance to have a listen to what he has to say about arm wrestling on the show yesterday. Where is Dan from? Where are you from, Dan?
I am from Long Island, New York, specifically Deer Park. This is the pit where I train out of mostly. When I'm not training with the crew, I do a lot of my solo training. I get a lot of cool tools, a car spring, Gripzilla, a pulley from Arm Assassins, and I love all things arm wrestling and where it's taken me. I got a lot of gains out of it in life, not just being a good arm wrestler.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? The benefits that come with this sport and this community and the friends that you can make. It doesn't mean that you need to only be a good competitive arm wrestler to enjoy this sport and get all the benefits from it. Some people will, like, I know I'm never going to be an elite arm wrestler, but the promotion side of it is where I sort of put my time and effort into promoting the sport, doing the podcast stuff, editing videos, and putting events together and running that with AWE and all those sorts of things is the enjoyment and benefit I get out of the sport of arm wrestling, as opposed to just my results on the table in a competition. But some people, that's where they put their time and energy, and they want to climb the ranks and they want to become a champion, or they're looking to try to, improve their rankings or all of those things. So there are so many different areas, even refereeing. Some people really get into the official side of sport. They want to make sure that the matches are started as fairly as they possibly can, and that the rules are enforced the way that they've been written, and that people understand how each match is supposed to look, and depending on the rule set. But it just depends on the person's individual interest. Some people just want to come to training and they never compete. Like some people compete, they never go to training. It's just it's very interesting.
There's a place for each and every walk of life in the sport. The hobbyist, the athlete, the guy who wants to learn how to use this as like a promotions, as an entrepreneur. There's so many different avenues that and it's endless, which I love, from even creating flyers. If you're a digital creator, like, a graphic artist, like you can create some pretty cool stuff. I know quite a few guys who have gotten into it. Like I've dabbled a little bit in that myself, and I do it for fun. I don't do it for money. I would say I'm not nearly anywhere on the level of some of these like really big time guys, but a couple of local organizations reach out to me. I used to do the flyers for New York Tri-State Arm Wrestling. I'm the one working on the Natty Bros flyers right now. I enjoy doing that, and just seeing them say thanks and say, "Wow, that's badass." That right there is payment enough for me, to do it. So
yeah,
my bread and butter though is the actual time on the table. I want to be that guy that's at the top. I'm looking forward to the journey because I feel like even though I'm 5 years in, I feel like I'm just getting started.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's all those foundation movements which takes so long to get all the connective tissues, the conditioning in your elbow and your joints, and it's more about like tendons and ligaments as opposed to the actual muscle itself. And it just takes a long time to condition yourself to be at the point where you can start to reach your potential. But Dominic Lawrence has said that he's heard a lot about Dan. You'll probably hear more and more as he continues to climb the rankings in that side of the world. Where are you sitting at the moment? Which weight class do you normally compete in?
So I normally compete at the 176, and I am sitting around about 17, 18 on Arm Fighter for the 172 class. So I do compete a little lower to make that. And my next matchup will help me in getting the next match that I'm hopeful will help me break through the top 15 in the nation on the Arm Fighters rankings.
Yeah. So you've got an event this Saturday. Are you competing at this event?
No, I'm not competing. I'm helping out with Dan with running it, and we're running 32 super matches, and then we're gonna run a last man standing, courtesy of a format that you had shared with me. I tweaked it a little bit, but not too much. And we're gonna do a power hour essentially for each arm, and then we're gonna do a tournament right afterwards. I was going to have a match at it, but because I actually have a match November 29th at the Monster Factory against Jake Houston, I decided I had a conversation with the guy who I was matched up with. I said, "Listen, you're strong. I have nothing but respect for you, but this match is going to help me in the United States. You're a strong Canadian. I'm going to save you for later into next year. Let me take this guy if I am worthy of it," and they gave me the match.
Fantastic. So, so your opponent for Monster Factory, he's ranked above you in the Arm Fighter rankings. Is that right?
So I don't think he's actually ranked above me in the Arm Fighter rankings. I think we're a parallel level, but he is a higher. He's got the upper hand. I'm coming in as the underdog because he's more well known. He's been at this for a lot longer. He has a lot of strong wins, big time accolades. But I have a recent win on someone who has beaten him. So I figure that is something that, styles make a match, right? And I find myself getting more and more versatile at the table as I'm being challenged more and more. And I'm learning more and more. I used to be a one-trick pony. I'm not so much that anymore. I'm evolving. And between arm wrestling on a Mac table to a traditional table, I've learned so many different techniques and styles and mindsets that I have to tap into. So I've been actually doing a lot more arm wrestling on a standard table because that's what this matchup is on. But doesn't mean that I'm gonna step away from completely Nightware arm wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely. For anyone who doesn't know what Dan is referring to, the MAC Major Arm Wrestling Championship, they have a different table design, which is instead of the flat tabletop, the center is concaved like that. So that's where your elbows are. And the reason for that is sort of the flat part of the table is up here. So for an official elbow foul, you have to get above the height of the flat surface. So minor elbow fouls are not called. Plus, you've got a much larger pattern to move your elbow on as opposed to the 7x7 squares. There's also a few different rule sets that they have as well. One being if the match slips, then every round from there on starts in straps and that sort of thing, which does really help speed up the process of watching an event. And I love seeing the innovation that they're coming up with. And they've got, as you said, a big event in Canada in a very short amount of time that we're looking forward to seeing. And for people who haven't had the opportunity to get on a Mac table, it really does change a lot of the techniques that you have available, and you start to think differently about how you could execute back pressure or side pressure, because you've got so much more room. It's like you can really push so much further than you can on the smaller pads. So it does change a lot of aspects of the sport.
So to answer Scott's question, what my current weight is, I am currently at 176. I hopped on the scale this morning, and I am currently at 176.
There you go. No weight cut for you then. And Robert Kelly says Dan is feeling strong AF right now.
Yeah, we did a little grip up today on the Mac table earlier. Just wanted to show, because he's a little that guy, as I said, travels all over the place. He's got familiarity with all different arm wrestlers, and he's like, this is where this guy's gonna go, this is where that guy's gonna go. In previous matches he's helped me out. So talk about a guy who sees a lot of matches. Robert Kelly, I feel like, with all the streaming he does, with all the editing he does, that guy watches arm wrestling through and through. I think arm wrestling is his full-time career, much like yourself. He uses arm wrestling and travels all over the place. I want to see that man as busy as ever. I want him on the road every weekend, so he can become, because what he brings something to the table. There's some very few people who are good at many different capacities, right? Sometimes you just have a live stream, you have just a bracket guy, or you have just a commentator, or so on and so forth. This guy can do it all. He can run the brackets while running your live. Like he has a lot of capabilities, and he has a lot of ways to streamline things and make them a little more efficient. Efficiency is the name of his game. I'm gonna do a little shout out. I got his shirt right here. Red Lightning is his company. So
fantastic.
Big love to you, Robert Kelly.
Fantastic. There's a comment here from Scott Evans who says, does New York have its own rankings?
No, New York is not that organized, not as of yet. It hopefully will be in the not so distant future. But you ever see the movie Gangs of New York?
Yep.
That's or Warriors. That's still, in this day and age, except we're not trying to kill each other, we're just undercutting each other each and every way. There's there's a lot of different factions and a lot of different groups, different opinions on how things should be done and executed. So it's but there's one gentleman, Steve Fernandez, who's trying to not just unify New York, but the whole entire tri-state area, and develop a ranking system that will be sensible. So that is something that, be on the lookout for that, because we're going into 2026. I think that he's got some plans.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even in the short period of time that I was in New York there, he ran a couple of events. We went up to the one in Connecticut, and then there was also the Mr. America event, which was in Atlantic City in New Jersey. Yep. So, yeah, and Steve was the man behind both of those. So, yeah, he's been doing big things over in that part of the world.
Without a doubt. Definitely, that's a man. You'll see him pretty much in anything involved in the Northeast. You'll see Steve Fernandez's name. He's going to be actually commentating in person at the event this weekend.
Oh, fantastic. There you go. It always makes a difference when you've got good commentary to listen to, especially for people who are just checking out the sport for the first time, and if somebody can be explaining what's going on with the setup, and why somebody was able to get a pin and why the others weren't, and it really does make a difference, and a lot more of an enjoyable experience for people that are watching the event, as opposed to just watching and going, I don't know what's going on, and I don't know how that guy won, but I think he won. It's like
definitely helps the casual viewer to understand what's happening. That's one of the things actually I like about the Mac. And Team Arm Wrestling Federation. I don't know if you had a chance to tune into that production out of Canada. Jason Constantini of Table Monkeys. He created this team-based battles that you can really understand, and you have a commentator really thoroughly explaining and you understanding what you're watching and seeing and getting excited. And it's only like a 3-hour show or something of that nature, which is really cool. And I'm going to be a part of a future component of that, which is exciting. So, I mean, like with everything that we got, right? We got the house, we got TOF, Team Arm Wrestling Federation, we got what else? Monster Factory, we have East First West. We have all these different platforms that are growing, and they're not just growing little baby steps. They're leaps and bounds, right? Like, and there's room, I think, I think the testament of this all is there's room.
Yes,
there's
absolutely.
room.
Yeah, well, I mean, the proof's in the pudding with the amount of tournaments that you guys have over in the States. I think there's at least 5 tournaments every weekend. And when I was in just that Eastern State area, I could have gone to 5 tournaments in 5 weeks. Like, there was just events happening all over the place, and not only that, but training sessions everywhere. And it was just, if you like arm wrestling, you'll find it over there. So
without a doubt, and that wasn't the case 5 years ago. That was not the case 5 years ago. Now we have a fair inundation. I was talking with my buddy and competitor Ed DeCruz. He and I were talking. So these guys who are just coming to the sport, they're lucky. I envy them because they have access to all this knowledge that we had to bust our asses trying to find and discover. And then I'm sitting there thinking, what about the guys before us, though? What did they have to do? Because we had some in comparison and relativity, right? They had it even harder than we have it, 5 or 6 years in. So like it makes you like to appreciate what you got, right? Because I'm sitting here, I've seen the evolution from what it was from the old school to what it is now. I appreciate it to what it is now, but I'm sitting like, how did those guys operate?
Yeah, well, I mean, the majority of tables when I started were homemade. Somebody just welded up a frame and got a top and put some padding on it, and it's like, so you think, prior to that, people wouldn't have had proper tables, and maybe they're doing it on the bench, or just a traditional table or that sort of thing. And it's not until people create the training materials, the training equipment, that we can start seeing all these different training methods progress. I know you've got some awesome training equipment there, as you can see.
I just wanted to share. You mentioned an old wooden table. Look at this thing. This has got masking tape on the handle. This table has been floating around New York for, I think I want to say like maybe 15 years, and I've inherited it. And it, like 10 to 15 years, it's got a nice finished top, but I will say the elbow pads, I think it's high time to update them. Wow. Because these things are pretty rough.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
I will say I have a pretty cool progression of the table that I'm using right now as my stand. My buddy made it, who's a carpenter by trade, and he wanted to try his hat in building a table. And then, I got the Mac table that I have coming in. And the evolution is literally, you can even look at it and say, all right, so this is the last 20 years of evolution within the sport of arm wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely. we've got Scott Evans asking a question here. Did I see an advertisement for Jonathan Vasquez being on your show? Yes, he was scheduled for today, but something come up, so we'll have to reschedule with Mr. Vasquez. But be excited to get him on the show. Yes, a great arm wrestler out of Las Vegas, but unfortunately wasn't able to make it here today. And we are still expecting Dan Centrella, the Hat Centrella, to make an appearance here. He had to drop something off at your house, and there he is on his way back home. So, yes, he'll be jumping
I think he may have gotten lost.
Yeah, it's been a while. Maybe he stopped to get some food on the way. I don't know. Didn't he have to drop Robert Kelly off?
No, Robert's staying with him.
Oh, right. Okay, nice.
Yeah, he's got the cast of characters staying with him. I think he's got Robert and Ian Carnegie are going to be crashing with him. So that's definitely going to be an interesting room share that they got going on there.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a comment here from Dominic Lawrence. This is, have we got any recent video of Dan, or does Dan have any to discuss his technique? Do you want me to bring one up from YouTube?
Discuss my technique? I don't have any videos actually discussing my technique per se.
I think matches, any matches that you wanted to for us to have a look at.
Let me see. I don't think. I don't think my last YouTube match that I posted is not the most current. Go ahead. Oh, you know what? Actually, you can put up. It's a story. The one with me versus Sam Harris.
What's your YouTube channel called again?
Dan the Nightmare. So you're good with this type of stuff. I'm a noob. I still can't figure. I usually have to have either this stuff loaded or it doesn't happen.
I've got a story here. Dan the Nightmare Schwarz kicking the crap out of me. Let's see if we can bring that one up. I got share screen, and there we go.
Oh, that's in Puerto Rico.
Oh, there you go. So that's Dan on the left of screen with the hat and the goatee.
Yeah. That's Manolo Sanchez.
Oh, fantastic.
Or Poseo TV.
Oh, yes. Yeah, as you can see, top roll being used in effect there from Dan the Nightmare. Was that something that came naturally to you?
Yeah, so top roll. Everyone said I was going to be a better hooker than I am top roller, but I decided to go straight to the top roll. It felt more natural, felt more reasonable. I think because of it, my back strength is really like I have a powerful back. I carried a lot of weight. Oh, that's an interview.
Oh, is it? That's all right.
Yeah, I think it's an interview, or that might be the. Yeah, it's a little bit about me. There you go. It's some information about me coming to Puerto Rico. This is me over in Virginia, going up against. Oh my God, why can't I remember this dude's name? He's a strong dude. Brian Ikes or Ickes.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Took his wrist pretty comfortably there.
I was pretty light here. I was actually 165. Like 160, give or take. I had dropped all the way down to 154. I actually started in the sport of arm wrestling at 270 pounds.
Yeah. Insane.
I was a big boy.
100 plus pounds that you've lost since that.
Yep.
Incredible. There's you and the legend John Brasink, and 98%.
Yeah, so that was when I was affiliated with them for a little while. And no, that one is you're pulling from his channel, I think. So if you were to go,
there it is.
Go to my own. There we go. Me with Devin.
You want shorts?
Go to shorts and let's see. Yeah, there we go. Sam Harris versus the Nightmare. It's going to be right below the Gripzilla one.
This one?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. So
that's my most recent big victory.
Oh, an early start from Sam there.
He thought he had something.
Yeah. Let's have a look how it plays out. So, is he a top roller as well?
He is. He's like a high hook top roller. He's got explosive hit, a lot of power and speed. He's got a high lever, and this is. I knew that he was going to try to explode on me, so I decided to contain him as much as I possibly could, which I think it worked because then he bailed. He hit a brick wall on that one. I was ready for that hit. And I don't know if you see in the background, there's a gentleman by the name of Zach Lee. He is a top guy at the 172 in the Northeast. He's out of Pennsylvania. This dude is strong. He coached me tremendously in this match specifically. He's a good dude. He's always encouraging me.
Oh, fantastic. Well, let's have a look how it plays out. So you're in the strap now. You're feeling confident at this point in time. You managed to get a good stop, and he's gone with the slip. So it was the same containment strategy here for this round.
So it was going to be the same strategy, but because he was in the strap, his speed caught me off guard. But then I caught him in the hook right here. You can't really quite see, but definitely see I'm deep inside of the hook with him. Yeah. I got my shoulder in there, nice and tight, and I'm just trying to drag my elbow back over across my side of the table, and I was able to do so and bring it in for a win. Wow. I will tell you, I don't know if you saw the look on my face. As soon as he hit, I was like, oh shit, I caught it. I'm in this.
Yes, let me see if I can find that bit, because that was a great catch. Let's see if we can find the start of that. Right there. Oh, yeah. Then you turn it inside, you're back in the match here. But yeah, that explosive start is so difficult to contain, so you did a great job there. And then we get the drag hook, the rotation gets him underneath the height. Well done. Scott Evans says that he's been on Manolo Sanchez's show, and Drew says that he is a good guy. And Dominic says, awesome how you stopped that hit. Wow.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a good day for me because I went undefeated that day. I beat some really Del Rivera, Jerry Sterner, who ended up on ESPN, taking on Emo Churchella, the multiple-time world champion over at Keystones. Keystones is a great Northeast tournament, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, tournaments to go to. It's been around now for, I want to say 9 years. Let's see, what else? What other ones you got in there? It's good. Oh, he's good old Ryan Bowen right there. I'm laying the smackdown on him.
Where's that?
You see him?
Oh, yeah.
Right there.
Let's bring that up. There's Paul Italia.
Yeah.
Who's up there? Yeah, there's Ryan, and that's you. And
that's Steve Hernandez. Right. Yep.
We were talking about earlier. Yeah.
Yep. Good friend, great promoter. Oh, look at that. Making a big screen right there.
Aha.
So, yeah, Greg Toulier is a really nice dude.
Yeah.
Shark.
The Shark, yeah. Missed his head on that one, but that's all right. There's Mikey Oliva and Sarah.
Yeah, Mikey. Sarah, yeah. You got to hang out with Mikey recently.
Yeah, awesome guy. And
James Wall.
Oh, yeah. And that's you and Mikey.
Yep.
Oh, too strong on the top roll there. Oh, he's dragged it back. That rotation you got is very powerful.
I was left-handed.
Yeah. Are you swapping to right? Here we go. Okay. I haven't seen Mikey compete on right, and he was a little because he's super lean at the moment. He didn't want to do any training with arm wrestling because he was worried about potential injuries or that sort of thing. Oh, very nice.
Yeah,
you've gone in for the press there, sort of a little bit. You've been straight sideways. Oh, you've turned it inside. Yeah, very nice. How long ago was this?
So I think this was Knuckles up 3.
Oh yes.
So here's JJ Jackson of the Mac family. I can tell you right
Oh,
now, this will not happen again in any way or form. This could not happen. This will not happen in any way or form. He he's leveled up tremendously. There's nothing, I was definitely feeling myself on this day. Felt very strong and very confident in myself. It was after pull, so you know I'm putting in probably more effort than he was because he's a super heavy. I'm only a buck 70, maybe buck 65 in this one.
yeah. Well, as we were talking about before, I mean, the amazing ability to get table time with some of the best guys in the sport, and it's like if you go to an event after the event, if you're lucky enough, you can get on the table with all the guys that were competing in the show, and it's people that you would never expect to be able to otherwise. I mean, here you are with Ryan and some of the guys that you get the opportunity to get on the table with is just amazing.
It is incredible. It's unreal getting to connect and learn and feel different hands because while he was burnt and spent, he was coaching me and telling me what I should do differently. But leading up to this point, he had given me a lot of information, and he said, "Yeah, you got a lot of power here. Why don't you go this way a little bit more? And, you'll notice a better result." And then so I did, and then he was like, "See, what I tell you?" And then he reminded me that there are levels to this shit.
Yes, absolutely. Drew says when his left was much weaker, it has actually got much better than before. Yeah, strangely, I don't think he was training his left at all at that point in time, or very minimally. And but I think in probably the last year, his left seems to have done very, very well. He beat Artem Taranenko with it, and I think he won a couple of tournaments. So yeah, his left has definitely jumped up enormously. Let's get out of that one because that's not yours. What do we got here? New York Arm Wars After Pool.
Oh, that's a good one. I was pulling with some big guys.
Uh-huh.
We got Roger Learned over here.
Oh yes, yeah, lovely guy, and his wife, isn't it, that takes all the photos of the events?
Yep. Yeah. Roger's like a big brother to me. Big shout out to Roger. He's got a super match as well this upcoming at the end of this month at the Monster Factory. Just for the record, my headphones have low battery and my phone has low battery. I am a noob at this. I actually wasn't expecting to be on the show, so if I do cut out, that'll be why.
That's all good.
But yeah.
We might look at wrapping it up. Anyway, I was hoping that Dan would jump on, but he seems to have gotten lost on the way home. I hope he's okay. He was supposed to be.
I hope so too.
Yeah, 20 minutes or something.
That was supposed to be like 20, like an hour ago.
Absolutely.
I'll be home in 25 minutes.
Yeah. Oh well, maybe that New York traffic got to him.
It's Thursday night, and he literally lives 15, 20 minutes away. I think he probably thinks that, I'm already on the show. We might as well let me, have the limelight for tonight. And then, I mean, he put together a really awesome card. A lot of energy. Some Canadians are coming down, facing a bunch of New Yorkers, some Jersey people, somebody from Oregon, which is all the way on the other side of the United States, is coming through. So we're excited for the actual event. The super matches. I mean, talk about a fun event venue. It is a pole dancing aerial acrobatic dance studio, and it's a training center. So it's not a strip club. There's not going to be it's not a club of any sorts. It's actually a gym for aerial acrobatics.
Sure.
And my theory behind this, though, so the mad scientist that I am, and hopefully my phone will cut out while I'm trying to explain this one, but we need more females in the sport. And what's better to do than better to work with females that do upper body aerial acrobatics?
That's true.
They have insane upper body strength. We just need to take their knowledge and their experience and apply it to table mechanics, right? Yeah. And if we can do so, we can flood the arm wrestling world with some really strong women, and
Yeah.
that's ultimately the main goal that I actually have with having it at this venue. I met this person when I was at a rock and roll festival that was local on the island, and she's like, "Hey, I got a studio. I would love to do a collaboration." So we have this collab. We haven't yet to do get too many of the girls involved, but we have "Are You Stronger Than a Pole Dancer?"
Oh, nice.
It's a
That's cool.
fun way to promote the sport, promote what they're doing as well. Kind of gives them a little bit of a different light and a different experience. So I'm hopeful that it's going to keep going. Especially you know.
Oh, I think we may have hit the limit. No, you're still there.
I'm still here. I'm still here.
Yep.
Just my headphones died, but
Oh, okay.
it will allow for us to grow the sport in a different fashion. I think that if we get more women involved, we can get more kids involved, get more kids, we get more families, we grow the sport in a way that will help grow the other things that are doing so well already. Right? We have to focus on different capacities for sustainability in the sport, in my opinion. And one thing is networking. Listen, arm wrestling, I love doing. I love competing, and I'm working my way to the top. But my number one love, it's not even being on podcasts. It's networking, connecting with you, showing you, hey, you're good at this. Hey, you're good at that. Let's get you in the same room so we can be good together and be even better. And it doesn't always work out. It doesn't always benefit everybody, but at the very least, somebody else in the room says, "Hey, there's an idea there," and they can run with it. I'm not taking ownership of that. The only ownership I have is the benefit of watching it grow. And now all of a sudden we have 10 new arm wrestlers just because they saw one thing that I helped participate and create. That's a win in my book.
Absolutely, completely agree. Well, thank you so much for jumping on the show, and thank you to everybody in the chat for watching. Dan, the Nightmare Schwartz. So your next match coming up that we can see you at is November 29th. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. It's at the Monster Factory. It's going to be on Monster Michael Todd's YouTube channel. It will be live. It will be free. I am the third match in, taking on Jake Houston. He is a absolute unit, and I look forward to testing myself on a level I have yet to do so.
Ah, fantastic. All right. Well, thank you again, everybody in the chat, and we shall see you again next time.